Este é um dos módulos mais esperados do ano inteiro, mas dessa vez ele não trouxe lá aquilo que esperávamos. Estavam todos esperando aí alguma coisa da Perseus, da Ironclad, ou talvez até o último conceito em naves que eles anunciaram, que é um tipo de destroyer espacial. O que é uma pena, afinal de contas, se não teremos mais naves conceito, não conseguiremos pegar naves mais baratas por serem conceitos. A única vantagem é que só teremos naves lançadas daqui para frente, ou seja, mais caras. Mas as naves apresentadas da vez foram três e todas naves com um grande poder de fogo, a começar pela Paladin, que é uma gunship. Foi anunciado o conceito aí o ano passado e eles estão entregando agora. Na verdade está na PTU e entrando o próximo patch da live com certeza já vem. Aliás, todas as três já vão vir. O que eu achei da Paladin? É rústica, é totalmente militar, parece um tanque de guerra voador. Até no seu interior. Seu interior é o que mais expressa isso. Não tem lá tantos detalhes legais, é aquela coisa bem rústica mesmo. E uma coisa um pouco até estranha, aquela escadaria no meio lá da nave, parecendo como se fosse um edifício. Eu não topei muito com aquilo, mas puxa sim seu lado militar. O uso dela é que acaba sendo uma coisa até melhor. Isso porque todas as torretas têm um ótimo ângulo, cobrem por volta da nave inteira, 360 graus de ângulo. Mesmo as que são destinadas para o piloto, quando um gunner assume, ele pode apontar ela para qualquer direção. E isso eu achei bem legal. Se você analisar, o piloto não precisa fazer nada, isso porque o gunner pode assumir as suas armas, e com isso ele só se preocupar na pilotagem, o qual também não precisa nem suar tanta camisa, afinal de contas as torretas abraçam todas as áreas que precisa. No entanto, para um piloto único, eu ainda acho que ainda fico com a Redeemer, afinal de contas a Redeemer parece que vai ter bem mais poder de manobra. A Paladin parece que vai ser bem engessada nesse quesito. Você vai ver no vídeo aí eles anunciando também que a nave é uma perfeita escolha para se usar no sistema novo, Nyx, que vai entrar aí no mês que vem. Então falamos agora do Vanduul Stinger, que trouxeram direto do Esquadrão 42 para nós. Porém parece que vai ter algumas mudanças, eles conseguiram dar lá alguma diferenciada com o modelo que é próprio dos Vanduuls. Inclusive teve uma equipe toda voltada aí para esse trabalho. Outra coisa interessante também é que na maioria dos encaixes de armas eles colocaram lá um tipo de encaixe do qual favorita para você colocar qualquer arma que você queira e não mais as armas específicas dos Vanduuls, ficando só a arma de tamanho 5 não trocável. Onde eles alegam que a arma estava tão encrostada no casco que nem a Hesperia conseguiu fazer alguma coisa. Enfim, a nave é uma nave muito pesada também para um caça pesado. Eu acredito que seja o caça mais pesado que todos vamos pilotar. Eu ainda não testei nenhuma delas para falar a verdade. Mas o Stinger morde bem, são 4 armas de tamanho 4, o que já é bom, 2 de tamanho 2 e um canhão de tamanho 5. É um caça pesado destinado aos membros mais importantes de clãs, como você viu lá naquela apresentação do Esquadrão 42, o cara fugindo da Kingship, e também para os pilotos mais ávidos. Já pra gente é para aquele cara que gosta de mostrar que tem a coisa maior e que também gosta de levar a paulada. E aí temos o novo fabricante, Grey Market, onde tem um cara meio maluco que pega peças por aí, meio que de origens duvidosas, para montar lá seu autêntico Frankenstein. Você vai ver peças variadas, desde uma Cutlass, desde naves da Crusader, desde uma torreta de uma Hurricane, desde propulsores de uma Freelancer, a propulsores também de uma Envil Valkyrie. Tudo em uma nave só. E por dentro a salada não fica diferente, painéis expostos, o banheiro para você ter uma noção tem 2 baldes, um para você fazer o número 2, o outro para lavar a mão. Eles pegaram a Drake e pioraram todo o conceito da Drake em cima desse fabricante, ficou uma maravilha e não me levem a mal, quem tem uma Cutlass com certeza tá louco para trocar por essa nave aí, porque na verdade é uma nave muito bem armada também, porque a torreta dela é remota, não sei se é tamanho 3 as armas da torreta remota, mas pelo menos as armas que fica ali pro piloto são 2 de tamanho 4 e pelos vídeos que eu andei vendo aí parece que o piloto vai disparar tanto com elas quanto com as torretas, portanto é muito bem armada. Para mim eu acho que foi a melhor surpresa aqui Em relação à nave da CitizenCon, o seu jeitão de ferro velho, todo largado, também tem a cara de Nix, e com isso você vê que todas as naves têm ligação também com o Nix. Um fato curioso é que quando a gente estava vendo a apresentação, eu não sei se foi o Minato ou se foi o Netkiller que comentou, era esse tipo de nave aí que eu queria ver no Base Build, não nave de fabricante, mas nave misturada, mesclada, montada a partir de peças de outras naves. Isso sim é o que faria sentido no Base Build. Não é totalmente uma novidade, você já viu essa nave em apresentações aí ou vídeos vazados do Squadron 42. Não só ela, mas como uma Aurora toda modificada aí também, para quem bem lembra. Bom, vou ficando por aqui, dá uma olhadinha aí no como foi a apresentação dessas três naves, até porque dessa última nave aí tem até uma boa parte de lore junto. Vou ficando por aqui, dá aquele seu joinha de sempre e aguarde o próximo vídeo.
Now that rail mounts the main turret of the ship, which is controlled by the co-pilot.
So you've got full 360 coverage underneath, full 360 coverage on top with it, and then the side turrets also have 360 coverage that way around and 180 out sideways. So really you have, between the turrets, pretty much 360 coverage in all directions. One of the unique things about the Paladin is all the turrets are remote and all the crew are located in this one central two-story room.
A lot of our other gunships, the crew gets scattered across the ship, but with the Paladin, you're all sat together with a nice, cool experience, so you can really feel like you're playing as a group.
You've got the pilot, co-pilot up top, and you've got the gunners underneath, and I think that helps with the intention of what the ship does, because you've got this really nice kind of like gunner viewpoint down, kind of giving this lower coverage.
We added a glass floor just to keep the two connected. I think that really helps with the feeling that you're all working together and communicating.
That said, if you don't have the ability to fully crew a Paladin, you can still fly it and engage in combat solo.
Obviously not as good as if you have a full crew, but you can't always guarantee your friends are going to be online.
As a solo ship, it's pretty capable of doing a variety of missions within Star Citizen. So if you want to run this ship solo, you can take on combat missions that, say, other heavy fighters like the Scorpius or other ships such as the Drake Cutlass could do. Coming aboard the Paladin, you enter into this sort of armory, ready room area. You have a variety of suit lockers and weapon racks in this room.
Everything's very militaristic, stripped back, simple. It's a very functional space, but you'll find everything you need in there.
One of the improvements from the original concept is we've added a small dedicated cargo bay area, allowing you to store actual SCU crates. Forward of that is the route to the lower gunners, and then upstairs you have the bridge area, and then off that central area you have the dual living quarters, one on the left, one on the right, and then at the rear you have the main sort of engineering area where the majority of the components are. Also within the upper traversal area you also have a little breakout area with seating, food machine, toilets, etc.
I think it's a very cool looking ship. I think we did a really nice job of taking what was there in the concept and adding an extra level of detail and trying to kind of push things forward.
I think it hits the nail in terms of a really solid military ship. It's really complementary to some of the other ships in the Anvil lineup, so something like the Valkyrie, where you've got this big drop ship. You know, the Paladin's there just to make sure it's safe, make sure no one messes with you, and just basically scare people away.
The thing I like most, I think, about the Paladin is that it's very clearly got a crew of 4, and they all kind of work and operate under the same conditions. You know, the pilot, co-pilot, and the 2 gunners, they're basically all equal on the ship. There's one toilet, everyone's got the same style of bunk. When they're at work, everyone's at the front of the ship together.
It's really odd to me that you call that, you like that there's one toilet for 4 people.
Well, you know, it's you all work together. You're all equal at work.
The toilet seat never gets cold.
Toilet seat never gets cold. Yeah.
So that's the Anvil Paladin. Whilst originally a military-built craft, it's the perfect ship for folks on the frontier trying to defend against threats. And talking of threats, let's move to our next ship, a replica from Isperia. Isperia are a high-end manufacturer. They specialize in recreating exotic and particularly alien spacecraft.
Effectively what they're doing is they're remanufacturing them, making them a little bit more suitable for kind of human flight. And the latest offering from Isperia is the Vandal Stinger.
The The Vanduul are big, scary space aliens. They're like 7-foot tall, evil war race that sort of take over, steal technology, absorb it, fuse it all together into their own needs.
They are the relatively nasty aliens that you sometimes hear about and haven't seen much of yet. They also make really cool spaceships.
The Stinger as a Vanduul heavy fighter was reserved for their higher tier sort of ace pilots or high-ranking members within their clans.
The Stinger is a competitor to something like the FA or, I guess, the Scorpius.
It packs a lot of firepower in quite a large frame, so it's a very, very tanky spacecraft. The firepower is almost unrivaled in terms of just both the number and the size of them. So it's there for players who don't want agility. They don't want to be in and out quickly. They want to be there brawling with big guns and taking all the hits. One thing Isperia have done differently with the Stinger is they have done away with the majority of the bespoke weapons.
They heard everyone's complaints about the glaive and blade and have stripped off the original Vanduul weapons to allow customization for standard human weapons.
With the exception of the single size 5 gun.
Because it was too well integrated into the hull, even for Isperia to remove.
All the additional weapons are generic mounts, so they can be swapped with any of the existing lineup that we have in the game. By doing this, it provides greater flexibility to the end user, and this is something Isperia wanted for the civilian market. For that one bespoke weapon, the size 5 plasma cannon, functionally it is the same as the existing size 5 plasma cannons on the Scythe and Glaive, but it is a sort of Gen 2 model and wraps it in a different aesthetic compared to those models. You'll see they're very much older Vanduul styling. This is much newer Vanduul styling, but underneath it is the same weapon that people have used for years.
Our job as the vehicle art team on the PU was to take the Stinger from the squadron team and prepare it for life in the PU. We took an opportunity to take, this really well-established art style and, add extra details where needed.
So the exterior is a real blend of these kind of hard surface, kind of rare alloyed kind of wings, and then underneath this real kind of organic structure that kind of webs all of the ship together. It connects the thrusters in, it connects all the kind of underside of the vehicle and pulls the whole ship together.
You can tell it's very different from the Vanduul ships that are currently in the PU. If you take, for example, the way the cockpits are constructed.
Up at the front, we've got this big kind of bubble dome that gives the cockpit quite a unique shape compared to some of our other ships, and also gives the pilot a unique position within the ship and kind of gives great visibility out the front.
Boarding the Stinger is a little unusual compared to other ships, obviously being alien in nature.
You're going through a ramp at the rear, and at least you kind of straight up into the belly of the ship.
There's, lots of organic detail, rib cages, kind of strange alien forms.
On entry of the cockpit, the seat kind of comes down towards you, and you kind of climb over the back of it a bit like a motorbike.
You're basically riding into the cockpit. It feels very much like you're being carried inside the cockpit.
Into the traditional prone flying pose that Vanduul pilots use.
I'm very happy with the Stinger. I think the team have done a really good job of making something that feels different, it feels alien, but it suits our lineup of ships and it suits our universe.
I think the guys did a really good job of respecting the direction and vision from the original Stinger and Vanduul ships and Squadron.
We've tried to take a lot of inspiration from movies and other science fiction material, but I think it sits well within the Star Citizen universe.
So we have the Paladin for the People's Alliance. We have the Stinger for people that really like Vanduul and want to try and pretend to be them. But what about the other mysterious faction we have running around?
So Gray Chowdhury got his start as he was working at a cargo center out in Odin. He started being able to get his hands on some stuff that other people couldn't, items that necessarily you couldn't find on a store shelf, but you wanted anyway.
I think Gray is interested in, happy customers. Gray just sees themselves as a conduit to get these things in the hands of people who would appreciate them.
And I think that his latest offering is really going to turn some heads.
So the Shiv, well, we don't really know what it is, to be fair.
It's what happens when someone who is a genius at aeronautics and ship assembly is given free rein to do whatever they want. It's the best of whatever they can find lying around, put together to make something truly unique, wonderful, arguably beautiful, and just released out into the universe to see what happens.
At first glance at the exterior of the Shiv, I think most people will probably recognize there is more than a fair proportion of the Cutlass visible there, but it's had quite a few changes to it.
As you look a little bit closer, you'll start to pick out elements from other ships. You've got, main thrusters that are from the Valkyrie.
Even the bits that are obviously a Cutlass have had panels welded on, panels removed. The top turret, which is now remote, is just this hodgepodge amalgamation with multiple other ships' turrets. And then the changes continue onto the inside where, again, it sort of feels Cutlass-like, but then you'll find there's bits of Crusader ships just integrated into the wall instead of what was there originally.
It has lost its side entrance, some of its cargo capacity, but what it's gained is it's gained visually more powerful thrusters. It's gained a really kind of nice set of belly thrusters. It's upped its firepower.
As ever, with the refined work from Gray's Market, you can see that great care was taken to the health and safety to ensure that there's no trip hazards anywhere.
There's like loose cables, panels are exposed. If you look carefully, you'll notice there are like tools laying around in the cockpit.
It's gained a toilet. Bucket.
Yeah, it's one for doing stuff, and then you need a second one to wash your hands. It's not an animal.
It has very much taken that ethos of Drake and moved it down a level, which I think is quite an achievement.
Just look at this thing. How do you even begin to describe the madness that created this? It's the Shiv.
This is something new and different for Star Citizen. Where did it come from?
I'm not going to answer that.
Just
Nope.
nothing. Just
No comment.
Gray goes to places and talks to people. I mean, there are just many ways to find these things that, are they legitimate, manufacturers? No. Are they operating on the right side of the law? Maybe not, but, money's money.
Does Gray have a motto, an ethos to live by?
It probably comes down to, don't ask where I got it.
Don't ask how we got it.
Don't worry about it. Just ask if you want it.
I think the Shiv is for someone that is looking for something a bit different, a bit away from the norm, that just wants something that's unique.
It's definitely for people who like a rustic aesthetic.
It's a fun ship, but it's also really strong, to be honest, and it's absolutely a statement.
I'm happy with the 3 ship offerings. They are obviously very combat heavy.
There's something we wouldn't normally release all at once, but honestly, all of them are a different statement and they're all cool.
As always, super excited to release these ships into the game and just see how players react and play with them. It's always fun to see the quirks and the shenanigans that people get up to with them. So that's Talking Ship for another year.